On February 24, many believed that the United Nations would be able to stop Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. However, when it became clear that the organization had failed in its main task and allowed a major war to take place, hopes were replaced by sharp criticism. The office of the President of Ukraine called the United Nations a weak organization. The Ukrainian representative in the organization voiced the position of Ukraine.
I urge the Security Council to seriously consider how to address Russia's questionable presence in the hall, which impedes the effectiveness of the Council in carrying out its primary task of maintaining international peace and security. Serhiy Kislitsa, permanent representative of Ukraine to the United Nations, from a statement to the United Nations General Assembly on April 19, 2022.
Russia is one of the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council, which gives it the right to veto any decision of the Security Council. For example, 2 days after the beginning of the full-scale invasion, Russia voted against a draft resolution of Ukraine demanding that Moscow immediately withdraw its troops. Russia's use of veto power to implement its aggressive policy is the main reason why the organization is once again talking about reform.
Security Council members, and especially permanent members, have what President Truman called a special responsibility. In that same speech to the San Francisco delegates, President Truman argued that, and I quote, "The responsibility of the great states is to serve and not dominate the peoples of the world." To serve, not dominate. Russia's war against Ukraine is an attempt at domination in its purest forms. This war tests the fundamental principles the UN was founded on, forged here at the Fairmont, that outright aggression is never, never acceptable.
What is interesting, the frequency of veto use at Security Council, the higher, the lower is the annual contribution of the state to various UN programs. Since 2009, the US has vetoed 4 times, and Russia has vetoed 26 times. At the same time, in 2020, the countries have allocated $11.6 and $0.5 billion relatively. According to experts, Russia, as an authoritarian state, benefits greatly from its position in the UN and therefore is not interested in changes.
Since this organization is rather rigid, rather large and complicated, it is natural that it is not so easy to reform it. Again, it had to be formed within the framework and using the principles on which it was based. And we see that many who are represented in the UN are not really interested in this organization being reformed. In particular, Russia, which openly overuses its right of veto.
There are several options for changing the global security system, from reforming the UN Security Council and the organization itself to creating a new structure instead. According to diplomats, the position that Ukraine has recently taken on this issue can really bring results.
The fact is that Russia has not passed the verification procedure, the procedure for the transition of its place from the Soviet Union to the Russian Federation. In fact, there was no vote, no procedure for her to take its seats. And on this issue, the Ukrainian side sent appeals to the UN Secretariat to give us an explanation on what grounds the Russian Federation is in the Security Council. And this topic needs to be further developed, because it is not legally located there.
Yesterday, the UN monitoring mission updated data on civilian casualties in Ukraine. More than 14,000 dead as a result of the Russian invasion have already been confirmed. The data is being updated. Reported by Serhiy Kulyas, Danilo Kobza, UATV News.